Hawaiian weddings and luau celebrations begin with the blowing of the conch. And I'll do that, and when we get into the ceremony, I'll explain to you the significance of the blowing of the conch at a ceremony. So here it goes. So again, aloha. We've come here this evening to celebrate the special aloha and marriage of you, Pat, and you, George, and your desire to make your commitment eternal. You've chosen one of the most beautiful places in the world to make this commitment of love and friendship and to share your life together as husband and wife. Now here in Hawaii, you often hear the word aloha when somebody's coming towards you or somebody's going away from you. But the actual meaning isn't that of hello and goodbye. It's that aloha in Hawaiian means love, peace, and compassion. It's the guidelines of how Hawaiians like to model their lives. A life of aloha is one when the heart is so full, it's overflowing with the ability to influence others around you just with your spirit. Very powerful thing. You may notice and beware of the tropical breezes tonight, and we do have some. The Hawaiians believe that winds at weddings are spirits of absent loved ones. This may include ancestors that have passed on, as well as any friends and family who would have liked to have been here, but were unable to be here. So at any time during the ceremony, should you become strongly aware of the breeze, consider it to be the blessing presence of a loved one here in spirit. After all, love transcends time and space. And I believe also before FaceTime and Twitter, it was a way Hawaiians communicated with one another. You knew that if the conch was blown, that something special was going on there. Hawaiians also begin their ceremonies with an exchange of lei. These represent one's rank in the old society. The nicer the flower, the more special it was, the higher you were considered. We use tuberose, a little different flower, and we use it because not only is it pretty like the orchid, but it is also fragrant. So I'm going to give this to you and ask you to place that around the neck of your beautiful bride-to-be. And as you do, you can give her a kiss. And the same, I'll hold those for you. As you place that around the neck of your husband-to-be, you can give him a kiss. You've already in the Hawaiian spirit. May these lei remind you of the dynamics of a healthy relationship, a giving and a receiving of a gift from the heart. Sometimes a simple gift of a flower says how much you mean to each other. You want your relationship to continue to blossom, to be fragrant, and to grow. I looked on the internet for a blessing that I could read, one that had a Hawaiian theme, and I found several of them, notwithstanding several translations. I then all of a sudden came across one. It's actually read at Apache Indian weddings. I've read it ever since. It's a beautiful blessing. I'll read it now. Now you will feel no storms, for each of you will be the shelter to the other. Now you will feel no cold, for each of you will be the warmth to the other. Now there is no loneliness, for each of you is the companion to the other. You are two persons, but there is one life before you and one home. Turn together to look at the road you travel to reach this hour of your happiness. That road stretches behind you into the past. Now look to the future that lies ahead. A long and winding adventure-filled road whose every turn means new discovery, new hopes, new joys, new laughter, and hopefully only a few shared tears. May happiness be your companion, and may beauty surround you both in the journey ahead and through all the years to come. Go this day to your dwelling place and enter into your days together. May your days be good and long upon the earth. Your adventure has just begun. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Now the mandatory part of a Hawaiian wedding is the exchange of the vows. We're gathered here today in paradise on this beautiful island of Hawaii, on this beautiful tropical beach of Kukio, with the beautiful and seemingly endless Pacific Ocean behind us. In more ways than one, we find ourselves here at the right time, at the right place, for the right reason. Let this magical island bear witness to your eternal vows and commitment to each other and to the symmetry of life that brought you together. You two are entering into marriage because you want to remain together. You're marrying because it will greatly increase your happiness as life partners. Keep this understanding of your marriage alive in the future, and may your love continue to grow truer with each day that you enjoy together. If you would face each other and hold hands, and I'll grab those for you. George, I'll start with you first. It's actually Pat's first, but I'll read the entire passage, George, and you can answer at the end. Do you, George, take Patricia to be your wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and health, to cherish with devoted love and faithfulness until death do you part?
I do.
And Pat, do you take George to be your husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and health, to cherish with devoted love and faithfulness until death do you part?
Most certainly.
That's right.
The Hawaiians had a special blessing of the rings. And each component here, each component here had a special significance to the Hawaiians. I took this bowl and dipped it into the ocean before the ceremony to get this salt water. It's not an ordinary bowl, it's made out of koa. Koa is a wood found here on the island, one of the strongest woods, and they used it because they wanted it to represent strength and integrity, obviously two qualities of a good marriage. They also used tea leaves. Not sure about the flower petals, but the tea leaf they use, and that represented the coming together of the body, mind, and spirit, kind of a complete whole. And what the Hawaiians would do is they would take the rings and take some salt water and dip it over the rings, and this represented a cleansing, a letting go of anything that you wanted to let go of, and representing a brand new life. This would go to you, and this would go to you. So George, we'll start with you. Of course, it's actually Pat that's being started. As you place that ring on her left hand ring finger, please repeat these words. With this ring, I thee wed.
I thee wed.
There's swelling in, when you get here. It is, so it's a fact. Beautiful rings.
They really are.
And Pat, same thing. Left hand ring finger, George. And as you place that on his hand, with this ring, I thee wed. Beautiful. Beautiful rings. Those are the prettiest rings I've seen at a wedding, honestly. Now, Hawaiians had a special ceremony too called the sand ceremony. And this was something that was done on the mainland using candles. And when the Hawaiians were at a wedding and you were coming together, they also wanted to remain, they wanted your individuality to remain important and to shine through. So instead of candles here on the beach, they used sand. And they would take sand as a foundation, this representing the base of your relationship. And I'll give this to you and to you and ask you to pour about half of that. I'll let you know when. This again is representing your individual personality and traits.
On one side or just evenly?
Just put it in. That's fine. So again, we have a layer, the foundation, and then we have Pat About half of that, George. And I'll let you know when. That's pretty good. With some effort, we could separate those grains of sand, but now what we ask you to do is both to pour together. And this is signifying pour until you're done, the coming together of your relationship, the mixing of the sand. Now, and it's pre-measured to get right to the top. Now you have a beautiful mosaic of your relationship now, completely intertwined. You could never separate those grains of sand as hard as you would try. Just like we couldn't separate you two. And this is something that you get to take home. We give this for you to take home. We seal it. It's beautiful. Now the Hawaiians also had another ceremony. They like to mark the spot of their ceremonies. At weddings, they did it by taking a lava rock from where you're standing, which is in the middle of here, and wrapping it in a tea leaf, the coming together of your spirit and your body and your mind together. The Hawaiians found this to be very sacred. This is something that we give to you and should be left somewhere here, or at least somewhere on the island, representing the place where your relationship came together. Your rings obviously go with you forever. This should stay here. All right.
I love all the symbolism. Yeah. It's nice.
So, we come together today to rejoice in the marriage of Pat and George. We celebrate the love that brought you two together many years ago. May your house be a place of happiness for all who enter it, a place where the old and the young are renewed in each other's company, a place for growing, a place for sharing, and a place for laughter. May no person be alien to your compassion. May your family be the family of all mankind, and may those nearest to you and dearest to you constantly be enriched by the beauty and the bounty of the love that you have for each other. And so, by the power vested in me by the state of Hawaii, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may seal your vows with a kiss. Now, if you'd stay in the circle, we have a couple of things here that we'd like to do. Now, the Hawaiians would find it offensive to throw rice at a wedding. Throwing food.
Yeah, waste.
And it's not good for food. They wouldn't care about the birds. You're wasting food. And so I'm going to try to shower you. It shouldn't be too hard tonight because last night we had a 40-mile-an-hour wind. And Donna's going to get some shots here. So just stay where you are. You can look at Donna. Okay, let's get some things signed here. Let's make this really